Like Everything podcast, where our goal is to empower, educate, and elevate. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Portia. So let's get right into it. I know the last time that we spoke, on our 20th episode, we discussed Bill Cosby. We discussed 4th of July coming up. What were your thoughts on actually celebrating the 4th of July? Because I know there's a lot of people that want to ban, European holidays, as you will. So I know that there were a few comments, a few thoughts, and I appreciate those comments and thoughts. And I hope that you guys had a wonderful 4th of July for the ones that did celebrate. Me and my family definitely participated in festivities. And just rejoicing and being together and all those good things. Now, since our last episode, there has been quite a few different things going on in the media. One in particular, and I thought that this was pertinent information based off of us talking about Bill Cosby's sex allegations. I thought it was relevant. The Boy Scouts of America reaches an $850 million settlement. It involves thousands of sexual abuse survivors who filed claims against the organization. Now, this has been going on for years and years and years. We're talking about minor children. We're talking about young boys who don't have a father figure. Their mothers, I know people that I have actually worked with, women I have worked with where, there wasn't a father at home and they thought Boy Scouts was, maybe something good to teach them how to fish and just have some type of male bonding type of thing. And so can you imagine being a parent and putting your child in Boy Scouts because as a woman you feel like, I can't teach my son to be a man. I want to be able to instill some type of, masculine type of bonding. And you sending your child off to this program that you're paying for, and these type of things have happened. But to be honest, as long as I've remembered, there's always been that whispers under the curtain as far as sexual abuse allegations. The same way they speak about the Catholic Church. It's kind of the same way they they spoke about the Boy Scouts of America. So, the reason why I feel like this is pertinent to what we were discussing the last episode is because we have seen the story unfold with Bill Cosby and his sexual allegations since 1942. Obviously, I'm over-exaggerating. But we've seen this with these grown women, white privileged women that are accusing him. And their fear of speaking. And then we see these young boys who really did have a fear of speaking. And that was swept under the rug. Not the Bill Cosby situation. That was swept under the rug. And I'm just going to leave it as that. So now moving on. I heard on the radio today that the Chicago public school system is handing out condoms to 5th graders. Now, being that I have a child who is in the 6th grade, and I'm sure other parents kind of had that whole Scooby-Doo type of thing. Scooby, Shaggy, kind of had their tentacles up. And they were asking parents what they thought about it. Now, for the concerned parents out there, the ones that are in their children's lives, woo out the bam. I mean, yes, it is, I feel like, with my children's maturity level, it is definitely young to be trying to give that out. But let's be real. There are a lot of children that do not have that guidance. There is a lot of children who, they make decisions based off of what they want to do, not based off of what the parent wants to do. So to be honest, even though I think it's young, I think it's necessary, especially when we live in an era where we have 12-year-olds getting pregnant, or we have 13-year-olds getting pregnant. I know back in 99, 2000, I think that's around the time I was in middle school. Okay. But I remember around that time there was girls that had got pregnant in junior high, and I've spoken with my daughter about that topic and what she's gonna see when she enters into junior high this coming up fall. But I definitely think that although we can frown our nose up and say, hey, that's too young, we have to also accept that there are kids that don't have the guidance or someone to have the conversation with them. They don't have that at home. So it's better to have these conversations with children now, whether that be the school board promoting safe sex or the parents or whoever, because to sit there and pretend and act like that's not going on when you have 15-year-olds killing each other, grown enough to kill each other and shoot each other, grown enough to do drugs, selling drugs and everything else, to say that they're not old enough to have sex is ridiculous. So in my opinion, I feel like it's necessary. It's definitely necessary. So with that being said, we're gonna actually go into today's topic. This topic for me is like self-hate, self-hate within the Black community. I know it's something that a lot of people don't like talking about, but you're not gonna act like that conversation is a foreign one, because it's not foreign. What's crazy is this has been the rainiest Chicago summer I have ever experienced. But it's also been the deadliest Chicago summer or Chicagoland summer that I have witnessed. It's almost like, God is trying to tell us something. God is trying to sit people on their behinds. If we don't think that our life is valuable, then who else is going to think our life is valuable? And you know what? I'll be the first one to say that I hate it when people said that. I absolutely hate it when people said that. Reason being I hate it why people say that is because in my mind, there is not just black on black crime, there's white on white crime, there's Hispanic on Hispanic crime. I mean, everyone has their pool of issues within, their community, right? But I feel like with Black people, I've kind of evolved my way of thinking because, I feel like with us, it definitely stems from self-hate. Whether that's shootings, whether that's killings, whether that's bleaching your skin, whether that's not wanting to date anyone that looks like you, just having that complete preference, like, oh no, I would never date a Black person. And you Black, that's a form of self-hate. The plastic surgeries, I mean, it goes on, and some of it kind of transcends into the culture and generation that we're in, but a lot of it is based off of the foundation of self-hate, and that's just my personal opinion. And then what's so crazy is, as it relates to these shootings, we were ready to tear this country up when everything transpired with George Floyd. But we don't put that same energy into the demise of our people as it relates to black on black crime. Like the same energy we put into protesting and, just basically that scream for help that we had last summer, last spring. That same energy needs to be put into not killing one another. Like, we are going to be, like, it's creating an extinction. This is not just Chicago. Check out Oakland. Oakland, California. That's another one that's on the rise. I feel like our biggest reason to put the gun down is our life. as far as it relates to one another, it's our life. Our life is important. And half the time, like, you're not even shooting the intended target. I've seen so many stories about 2-year-olds from 13-year-olds, innocent. It's always the innocent bystanders, people that were supposed to be able to live their life. You never know if they could have been the next president, but their life is being taken short by from nothing. I mean, literally over nothing. Literally over nothing. And so that's why I wanted to talk about self-hate, because I feel like a lot of us are still living in that Willie Lynch syndrome. You know, the purpose of the Willie Lynch letters was to create self-hate. It was created to put each other against one another, from moving the lighter skin tone people into the house and the darker skinned people outside of the house. Now dark skinned people had a reason to be envious about someone who's in the house opposed to outside the house. The whole book is about how they utilize these practices to literally put us against each other, because together we're stronger, but divided we're not. And a lot of us still live in that Willie Lynch syndrome. It's like we are each other's, that term, you are your own worst critic. We definitely are each other's worst critic. And sometimes we can be each other's worst enemy. And the only way that we're going to be able to, you know, rebuild Black Wall Street, as you will, because, you know, we love talking about that, or, you know, just having black businesses, spending with the black dollar within each other, is to put that self-hate down. As a side note, and I want you guys to think about this as well. I'm actually currently watching The Chi, right? And this current episode in The Chi, it deals with black people policing ourselves. And the way that it transpired in this current season of The Chi, it did make you sit back and thinking like, man, maybe we could do that, because we know that there is issues, with law enforcement. There's a disconnect between law enforcement and black people. So it definitely has you sit back and really analyze and say, man, like, what if we were able to do that? But what we want, or what is an ideal situation and what reality is two different things. How are we going to be able to effectively police each other when we act like we hate one another? And I know that's going to cut deep for a lot of people, but that's reality of the situation. If it's not about some beef or an issue with this person or that person, how are we going to police one another if we always into it with one another? And I think that kind of the last episode of The Chi this last Sunday, it kind of honed in on all of that. Like, yes, they had the ability to do it, but that Willie Lynch mentality, that just savage type of mentality is so embedded. It's such the foundation. But when a lot of people talk about policing, like, we need to police ourselves, how? And I'm not saying it's not possible, but I feel like we need to change our way of thinking. Metaphorically speaking, it's no different from these people who get these weight loss surgeries to lose weight, not knocking nobody, but getting a surgery, but still eating like you did before. It's not going to fix the problem. It may put a Band-Aid on it, but you're going to go right back to as big as you were in the beginning, because your mentality hasn't changed. Your mentality hasn't changed. You still have that mentality where you're going to eat cookies and ice cream and, all this other stuff. And I'm not knocking any of those foods, because I eat it too. I'm just saying, if you don't change your mentality, then how are you going to be able to transform your body, right? And it's the same way. we talk about policing. We talk about, you know, not only policing, we talk about policing. We talk about financial freedom. We talk about building another Black Wall Street, Black elevation, all of these different things. And all of that sounds great. But how can we obtain those things when our mentality, that self-hatred mentality, is still into play? It's still into play. An example of a self-hate in my eyes is Charlamagne the God, right? Anybody's familiar with The Breakfast Club? He is a host on The Breakfast Club. And there was a comment that he made about Kwamie Brown. And he basically spoke about, you know, hey, just take a look. Take a look.
Brothers, let me tell y'all something. Kwamie's father in the 90s, I remember this story. He beat a woman with an axe handle. It was his girlfriend. And the rumor was he buried her alive. He buried her in the area that I grew up in, if I remember correctly. I've been trying to call my dad since yesterday to confirm the whole story because I literally forgot about this until yesterday. But the woman died and he got arrested. If he's still alive, he's in prison for life because he got caught because he left South Carolina after the murder and came back for his paycheck. Let me tell you something else. His other brother, I don't know if him and Kwamie were close, but his other brother shot his baby mama several times and then killed himself. That was like in 2008. And his other brother, Kwamie's other brother, just went to jail for murder like 3 years ago. All of this you can Google.
Now, my issue with that comment was, one, it was unnecessary, but two, we already have the stigma of being the angry Black woman or the angry Black man. Whatever you disagree with that man about is what you disagree with that man about. But I feel like entertainers or people in the public eye should be held accountable to make sure that they represent their brothers and sisters in the most positive light possible. You utilized his story in a way to bring up, hey, you know, this man has issues. You know, he already got issues. His dad was in jail for murder. His brother's in jail for murder. Y'all better leave this man alone. And then the crazy thing about it is you Google search this to see how you could attack and assassinate this man's character. Meanwhile, Charlamagne was accused of rape of an underage Black girl, and he actually bragged about it.
That to a girl's throat and have sex with her doesn't mean it's illegal.
So I put the Spanish fly in the E&J. We drinking the E&J and shit. So in my mind, I don't know if this shit really worked, but I felt like I got horny as a motherfucker too. Right? So she was drunk as shit, and we had sex and shit, and like a lot of my boys was trying to come in the room and fuck her. I'm like, nah, chill out. I can't. I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna let you run a train on it. That's rape. Yeah. Okay. So, right. So
if it's just one-on-one, it ain't rape.
Yeah. So the next
trains are rape.
So the next morning she wakes up. And we talk about it. And she's like, what happened?
So when you hear that audio from Charlamagne, right, it makes you think like, who is he working for? Because as it relates to Me Too movement, we've spoke about this on the podcast before, as it relates to the Me Too movement, and we see Bill Cosby, we've heard Russell Simmons. I'm surprised nobody has canceled Charlamagne. So it does make you wonder, who is he working for? I guess the Me Too movement is only necessary as it relates to white women. I guess it's only relevant as it relates to white women because cancel culture would have canceled him out already. But the reality of the situation is we gotta get out of this self-hate. We'll be quick to put each other down, but be quiet as a church mouse as it relates to anything else. And I don't understand that. I don't understand that. But before I let you go, I want to play a clip. Let's listen to Vax That Ass Up.
You finna online date chat, find a mate chat, open up BOK ass, okay yeah, profile picture looking tight chat, nice chat, got your bio reading right chat, precise chat, but before you find a date chat, you gotta wait chat, gotta go back to Nate chat, get it straight chat, girl you look good, want you vax that thing up, you's a handsome young brother, want you vax that thing up, dating real life, you need to vax that thing up, feeling freaky all night, you need to vax that thing up, girl you look good, want you vax that thing up, you's a handsome young brother, want you vax that thing up, dating real life, you need to vax that thing up, feeling freaky all night, you need to vax that thing up.
So I guess in order for us to get a vaccine, we gotta listen to this song. This song is gonna help us get the vaccine. Like, it's almost like somebody said, the only way you'll relate to those blacks is put Juvenile's song Back That Ass Up, but turn it to Vax That Ass Up, and I bet you they'll be right at the vaccine facility. How, Sway? Be honest, I know that's funny for a lot of individuals, but that's insulting to me. It's on the same level of insulting as it is when every time it's time for somebody to run for president, they always want to grab a rapper or some type of entertainer to go talk about you need to go vote or die. Well, if Puff Daddy and Cardi B said it, and they said that I gotta vote for him, then I might as well vote. Those are the overseers. Juvenile, he was an overseer. And the only way that a person wants to be in an overseeing position is self-hate. So, my question to you guys today, before I let you beautiful people go, and before I get into the Black Business shout out is, what are some ways that we can overcome this Willie Lynch syndrome and get out of this self-hatred? Because at this point, not only is it causing our demise, but it's also causing a demise to our culture, as well as just thinking for ourselves. I want to know your inputs. Please, please, please comment and let me know what you guys think about self-hate. So, with that being said, let's wrap this up. We're going to go into our Black Business shout out. Black Business shout out. What? Black Business shout out. What? Black Business shout out. So the first Black Business shout out is Design Essentials. It's a natural hair care products for black hair. So if you're looking for some new hair products, you know we have 1 million of them. Go ahead and check them out. I've seen really good reviews on them. Everything is all natural. You know, we definitely need something to be able to promote these beautiful, natural, coily hair. Represent self-love. Don't be afraid to wear that hair. Take care of that hair under that wig. The second one is called Gym Wrap. For you ladies that like working out, I definitely know I need to go back into the gym. But for you ladies that like working out, check out Gym Wrap. It's basically a wrap that you wear around your head when you're working out. It keeps those edges laid and your hair laid too. So go ahead and check them out. We definitely need something like that. A lot of times we'll come into the gym with our hair bonnet on and an old scarf that we just put together. This is Gym Wrap. It soaks up the sweat so that your scarf and your hair bonnet isn't so sweaty and wet. So go ahead and check them out. Information will be in the link below. Next, go ahead and check out my girl. As you know, my friend Renee, she sells grown and sexy attire. Shop Something Cute Boutique is the name of her business, but the website is shopsomethingcute.com. Lastly, for those that know me, you guys know I'm selling secret products. So let's embrace self-love and let's embrace self-care and loving ourselves. Go ahead and check out my website. It has face masks, skincare. Make yourself, feel beautiful. Pamper yourself. Take care of yourself. All of that stuff matters. And with that being said, you know my motto, go beyond the limit of the sky, and peace and blessings always.